Listen up, you Yenzies. Welcome to another edition of Keeping It 100 with your boy Big G from the KnoItAllz podcast crew. Y'all listen, it's a great day and wonderful day to be a Pittsburgh freaking Steeler. Y'all, we 4-1, sitting on top of the division, punishing everybody we playing, getting strange for a little piece of change. You know how that go, that's the SEXUAL. We doing some strange things to the NFL. But y'all, we got to have a real talk and a real decision about what's going on in a certain position room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A certain position room, the tight end room, I don't know. I don't know if we got a tight end 1. I don't know if we got a tight end 2. I don't know if we got a tight end 3. But I know we got a dog in the room, and we're going to talk a little bit about him today. Before I get started with the show, man, we appreciate all y'all rocking with us every week live on Tuesday, Keeping It 100. We do the noontime edition. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. I'm going to say what's crack-a-lacking to a couple people in the live chat. What's up, Peter McCord, man? What's up? Corey Brown, Juice Bellamy, Stiller Lee. Man, we appreciate all y'all coming out and rocking with me this afternoon on the KnoItAllz podcast for Keeping It 100. So y'all listen, before I get to the person I'm going to talk about, the player I'm going to talk about, and the discussion we're going to have, I'm just going to do a blast from the past rewind. My boy Tape Boy Fresh uploaded a video for me that I could play for about 2 minutes to show you something that Big G might have been on a long time ago and from the G-Stradamus standpoint. And make sure you take a listen to what was going on back in the day with the KnoItAllz podcast. Give me Darnell Washington, tight end, University of Georgia. So we go Bulldogs at 17 and 32. That tight end number 32, listen, y'all, 6'5.5", 6'6", 260 pounds, sub 4.7 40-yard dash, and it's got catch radius like out of this world. Could you imagine us lining up with Freiermuth and Washington in 12 personnel and you not knowing how you're going to match up what could possibly be the best tight end combination in the NFL? And oh, by the way, the kid is as strong as a bull. Because remember, I made reference about what Jones did to that one-man sled. Go back and look and see what Washington did to that one-man sled in that pre-draft combine thing. He knocked that sled so far back, it was unbelievable. And you got to remember, this sled's got 2 big old 50-pound weights on the end of it, and it probably weighs about 200-something pounds by itself. And he just picked it up and mauled it. So, but his catch radius is unbelievable because you even seen that at the combine where he jumped up and gave us a one-hand Odell Beckham type catch. But he not only did that in the combine, go back and look at his game film. I seen 2 or 3 times where the dude jumped over a dude trying to hurdle a guy like a running back. The film we got here. I woke up and signs was everywhere and my blanket was everywhere and I don't know what happened. You know, all I know is when Darnell Washington hit the board, I blacked out. And I came up and the next thing you know, I'm live on the KnoItAllz.
And then Darnell Washington, I mean, he's more of a freak than Kyle Pitts was, in my opinion. This is the all-time freak at tight end, I think. I mean, you look at his measurables and what he did, you know, at the combine, and it's all just he's in 90 plus percentile in everything: height, weight, speed, 10-yard split, arms. You know, just every possible way, every conceivable way. This dude is an absolute freak. And
Yenzies, do you now understand why I was going crazy about Darnell Washington back in the day? This was a long time ago before we even drafted him. And I was saying then, he's the most freakish athlete that I've ever seen at the position, ever. I mean, I know that a lot of people out there are saying that Washington is the Eric Green 2.0 and this, that, and this, and this, and this. I'm telling you right now, Yenzies, we got a number 1 player in position at tight end 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name ain't Pat Freiermuth. His name ain't Jonnu Smith. His name is Darnell Mount Washington. And let me just say, and let me clear it up early and often, Darnell Washington weighed about 320 pounds and still out there destroying people in the NFL. Now, to be fair, Right now, he's not leading us in catches. Right now, Jonnu Smith has 17 catches for 89 yards on the touchdown. Pat Freiermuth has 8 catches for 76 yards. Darnell Washington has 6 catches for 82 yards. But I think as the game plan moves forward, Darnell Washington has to be the most versatile, utilized piece for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want you guys to understand something. Arthur Smith's offense comes from Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan's offense is what you're seeing over in San Francisco with George Kittle. The utilization of the tight end being a versatile piece. Can hit you in the pass, can hit you in the run, can block, because it should be set up. The offense is set up for play action passing from a versatile tight end position. Okay. Also, think about the great tight ends that Kyle Shanahan has had. And I mean, Mike Shanahan has had. Shanahan had Shannon Sharp, Brent Jones, Dwight Clark moved in and out from the wide receiver to tight end position. These are guys that excelled. And then think about it from a historical standpoint. The Pittsburgh Steelers, how we've had Heath Miller, Mark Bruner, Benny Cunningham, and Eric Green. And now we got 2.0 Eric Green, 6'7", 315-pound tight end, and the number 1 tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Darnell Washington. Now, I know a lot of people that had a lot of stuff talking about, well, you know, at Darnell Washington, he's going to have to get moved to tackle because he's too big and this, that, and this. I'm telling you right now, he ain't got to move and go nowhere. The issue is if the Steelers need a tackle, they're going to draft a tackle. But Darnell Washington is our present and our future with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the tight end position, right? Steelers dog said it. He's one of them, the Yenzies, and I ain't dogging you, Steelers dog 88. I'm just saying, Mount Washington may be a potential tackle. For what? For what? Because Roger Jones can't play tackle? Because Troy Fautano can't play tackle? No. You draft a tackle, or you get those guys to pick up their performance. But you don't move a guy who's this big of a versatile position that can be a dog for you for the next 10 years. My boy Tape Boy Fresh, he said, Big G, get more D and no Diddy and talking in Darnell Washington. No, I can't do that. No more D and no Diddy and can't do that. Tape Boy Fresh just can't do it, man. But listen, I've been rapping and raving about Darnell Washington forever. Darnell Washington is a monster. Listen, I called the play. I said the Steelers were going to come out 40 and heavy personnel, heavy 12, with Spencer Anderson, with Darnell Washington, and run 42 power. The very first play of the game against the Cleveland Browns, they came out in 42 and big heavy personnel 12. They lined up looking like it was going to be 42 power and they were going to run straight at Myles Garrett. And they fooled everybody. They brought Darnell Washington in motion. He cut him between the center and between the guard and the tackle. Rodgers hit him and he ran 36 yards right up the freaking sideline. Listen, this is the type of versatile piece you have in Darnell Washington. Y'all, there's no doubt in my mind Darnell Washington can get 100 yards receiving in a game. It's no doubt in my mind. Matter of fact, this last game, he had a drop. And he also had a play where Aaron Rodgers overthrew him and Darnell Washington would have had 100 yards receiving this last game. Darnell Washington is that big of a piece, man, right? Corey Brown says Eric Green was a little more smoother, but Mount Washington is unstoppable. I don't know if Eric Green was more smoother than Darnell Washington. Go back and watch it. I don't think he was. I think Darnell Washington's just got to continue to elevate to show what he can do, Yeah, still a dog. I heard it from other people too. Other folks saying that he's going to play tackle. And believe me, Pun, you're right. Pun said, yeah, I trust Kyle to draft a tackle after 2 whiffs on Broderick and Fautano. I don't think, first of all, let me say this. Troy Fautano is not a whiff. Troy Fautano actually can play tackle. I don't know if his future in the league is a tackle. He might ultimately move to a guard. But he's super athletic, and his tape is getting better and better and better. If you haven't watched it already, go back and watch the All-22 tape for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line. I'm going to talk about it tonight on Steelers Almighty in the grade. This is the best that the Steelers offensive line has played in 2 years. This is the best that they played. And for all you guys out there, and I'm sidebarring, Broderick Jones didn't manhandle Myles Garrett. The scheme manhandled Myles Garrett in the defensive line for the Steelers. And Darnell Washington was a critical part of that scheme. But he was also critical in the pass game. He was critical in the pass game, right? We've seen an absence of Pat Freiermuth in the pass game. And to be honest, I get it. Because Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith are the same player. Neither one of them are high skill or high efficiency in being able to block. Neither one of them are. But if you had to take skill set for skill set, would you rather have Jonnu Smith, who's faster, who has a little larger catch radius than Pat Freiermuth on the field? That's why we've seen the regression of Pat Freiermuth. And in turn, you're starting to see the progression of Darnell Washington in the pass game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Darnell Washington is now appearing to be the #1 tight end on our team. #1 tight. Tay-Boy Fresh, you're absolutely correct. I'm glad you hit that fact, bro. Pass pro grade was excellent for Troy Fautano. It was also excellent for Zach Frazier and Isaac Seumalo, too. There was outstanding pass grades. I watched the whole freaking film. They did really, really well, right? So now, what Big Punishment say? He said the big package with Spencer may work for now, but very soon, even a dumb deep coordinator will adjust according. You can adjust to it, Pun. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the game plan is set up to run play action off of it. It's actually set up to run. So if you load the box and you're in Big 12, now DK's got one-on-one on the outside. Darnell's got a seam route all day and night, and or you hit the running back running out of the backfield. It's hard to adjust to it. That's the whole reason why it works. And all defensive coordinators, it's hard to game plan for it. And I dare you to have small package personnel out on the field with that. Oh my God, you will get killed. You will get killed, right? So the issue is, what do we do for the Steelers concerning tight end #1? Y'all think we have our answer? I think our answer is the guy that I've been ramping and raving about forever, Darnell Mount Washington. Darnell Mount Washington, in my opinion, has the ability to move himself into the top 15 tight ends in the NFL if used correctly in the Steelers offense. He's that much of a piece. He's literally going to, if you just throwing the ball, even like on a 3-yard out, he's going to pick up 5 to 7 yards every freaking time because he's going to fall forward and pick up 2 more yards. No player can tackle him one-on-one. It's going to take multiple guys to hit him to get him on the ground, right? But you're starting to see the maturation of him. And Afton, you are correct. You know, every Steelers player, either if they're a bum or we think they're a good player, they pick up a nickname. We've already deemed Mount Washington as Bumblebee. Y'all know the Transformers Bumblebee? That's what we've deemed him as. He's Bumblebee. He looks bigger, stronger, faster. He looks like a Transformer walking around a bunch of other offensive players. Look at him standing next to Broderick Jones. Look at him standing next to Troy Fautano. Look at him stand up next to some other huge players on the Steelers, man. S. Dresden, man. He's talking about Nico Dart on Malava. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. We need a quarterback. Who'd you say? Nico Dart or Jackson Dart is already gone. So Nico Dart Mavalava, you're saying that's his name? No, I understand that the Steelers need a quarterback, S. Dresden. I get that. But I ain't talking about that today. Because why worry about a quarterback for 2026 when we have a quarterback now in Aaron Rodgers who has a weapon in Darnell Washington? Darnell Washington is a big-time player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Arthur Smith sees that. And even more so, I believe Aaron Rodgers knows it. I believe that Aaron Rodgers knows that we have a dog at tight end. And he's just going to get better and better and better in this offense. Now, here comes the question. And I want to say this too, concerning the tight end position, because when you do bad, I pick on you. But when you do well, I give you praise. Super Hayward might have showed that we don't have a need for Pat Freiermuth. Super Hayward caught a touchdown pass for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 23-9 win against the Cleveland Browns. Super Hayward looks like that he can do everything that Pat Freiermuth can do, maybe even at the same rate. So you got Jonnu Smith, you got Darnell Washington. You got Super Hayward. Do you trade Pat Freiermuth? Do you move Pat Freiermuth to go get another wide receiver? Because I think that would be the smartest option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Put a package together for Pat Freiermuth to go get a wide receiver too. Pat Freiermuth in a third round or fourth round, or depending on the wide receiver, a second round. You put those guys together, and now you got the versatility of a Darnell Washington, of a Super Hayward, and of a Jonnu Smith, all working in the tight end room. Y'all, look, we cooking with gas. We put cooking with gas. Tay-Boy Fresh said, what now? He said, better blocker, tight end, especially special team Hayward 100%. But yeah, Hayward and Pat Freiermuth ain't far off from the blocking standpoint. Pat Freiermuth can't block to save his life, Tate. He can't do it, man. So Steelers DNA says, there you go. Steelers DNA says, in the clutch division, we should start Will Howard for the last game of the season. We rest our starters. We're talking about the quarterback. At this point, Rodgers is a quarterback, and I really don't even want to have any other talks about it. I'm looking forward and trying to figure out who we're going to get for quarterback. Who cares? At this point, we're talking about this season and being able to make sure that our offensive scheme works. Because listen, y'all, as the weather gets worse, as it gets colder, y'all saw the conditions of Acrisure. Y'all saw that field. That field was tore up. They literally had to rip the whole freaking field out. Literally had to do it. They're doing it right. They started yesterday. They're going to finish it sometime today to have it ready for next week. But it's the conditions. We share it with a college football team. As the weather gets worse and worse and worse, you're going to see more and more and more heavy 12 personnel out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which means that the tight end now even becomes more versatile because you need him for play action. You need to be able to manipulate the defense to get them to move in one direction or another. Continue to feed the ball to Mount Washington. Continue to give him what he needs to eat for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because Mount Washington really is that dude. And I'm calling for it right now. Like I said, Bumblebee Washington should be our number one position at tight end. S. Dresden, man, we thank you for the super chat. He said, what is the name of USC starting quarterback? Malava, I think that's his name. It's irrelevant. We don't even know if the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback in the first round, S. Dresden. We don't even know. Based on condition and need, for all those people out there that think, we're going to automatically draft a quarterback with a first round pick. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure that the Steelers actually draft a freaking quarterback in the first round. Because really, to be honest, most of the quarterbacks in college football have played super trash anyway and don't deserve to be a first round grade. And that includes Lenore Sellers, who I've been high on all along. So I'm not even talking about the quarterback. I'm talking about building a position. And even more so, I don't want to see the Steelers get put into that narrative to move Washington to a tackle. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Draft a tackle. Draft a tackle. If you don't feel confident about Jones and Fautanu, draft a tackle. And I could see them drafting a tackle and moving either Jones or Fautanu to guard. I can see Broderick Jones getting flipped back over to the other side, moving Fautanu to a guard and drafting a tackle. But you leave Mount Washington at the tight end position. You leave him at the tight end position. Because like I said, I can see him being a top 15 tight end in the NFL. All you got to do is just feed him the ball. All you have to do is feed him the ball over and over and over and over and over. And like I said, I told you already, Acrisure Stadium, the conditions are just going to get worse and worse because we play in the winter. We play in the cold. We play in the mud. We play in this and this. Can you imagine a big dude, a guy actually trying to catch or tackle Mount Washington in the mud and in the snow and in the rain and the cold? It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's going to take 3 and 4 defenders to be able to get him down on the freaking ground, right? And listen, let me tell y'all something. Aaron Rodgers' eyes are starting to light up more and more and more concerning Darnell Washington. He would have never In a million years, he would have never tried to hit Mount Darnell Washington on that, where he missed him on that late outside route, which should have been a touchdown if he had had a more accurate pass. And Rodgers even did afterward. You saw him do this on the field like, it's my fault. I messed that up. I messed that up. I'm hearing already that he's talking about that play, saying that, and talking about Darnell Washington being added more and more and more in the passing game because he realizes how much of a weapon he has. Darnell Washington is that thing, y'all. I'm telling you right now, we got one in the big Bumblebee. And like I said, for y'all that don't know the Bumblebee reference, go back and watch the Transformers. Bumblebee spent a whole bunch of time around humans where the other Transformers were off doing their stuff. Bumblebee looked head and shoulders bigger than any other person that was out there, or any other thing that was out there. That's how Darnell Washington looks up a bunch of huge men. Because Troy Fautano's not a little man. Broderick Jones is not a little man. But Darnell Washington looks head and shoulders bigger than him. Darnell Washington is a beast, man. Big pun, I agree. I agree in totality. Rodgers is falling in love with Mount Washington. Aaron Rodgers knows he has one. Aaron Rodgers knows that he has one. So if he's got that guy, keep building him, keep putting him in position. I look for Mount Washington to have between 5 and 8 targets every week moving forward for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I look for Mount Washington to have 5 to 8 targets every week for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. Steelers Almighty, man, what's cracking? He said, what's up, G? Mount Washington has become our tight end number 1. You better believe it, bro. That's big facts. Mount Washington is a dog. He's a dog. He is a total killer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And because of that, we ain't going to do nothing but just keep getting better and better and stronger and stronger and stronger at that position. And like I said, that puts us in a dilemma. What do we do with Pat Freiermuth? S. Dresden, what is the name of UCLA starting quarterback? Thanks for the 2. It's Nico, man. That's the name of the starting quarterback. For his first name is Nico. That's all I need to know. And I don't know if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to freaking draft him. And I'm not talking about no quarterback. It's irrelevant. My mind about quarterback is not even until the end of the season, then we see what we got. I'm not so sure that Steelers aren't sold on Will Howard. I'm not so sure if they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. I'm in the position as of today, my guy I want, and I'll call it today. Today's the 14th of October of 2026. I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to do whatever they got to do to go get Jaden Proctor, the left tackle from Alabama. You talk about another freaking nature playing tackle. If you guys haven't seen the tape, they've thrown the ball to Proctor. They threw it on out and he tried to score. They also lined him up in the backfield and direct snapped him the ball and he tried to score. This kid's another freaking nature. So could you imagine if in the future with these 12 draft picks that the Steelers figured out how to trade up and get Proctor? And could you imagine our offensive line, including tight end positions, being Washington at 1 tight end, Proctor at the tackle, at the tackle, Fautanu at the guard, Frazier in the middle, McCormick at the right, and Broderick Jones at the other tackle. We would destroy teams. We would destroy teams. You talking about having a bully. You talking about having a super bully. Oh my God. So I'm standing on it. I don't think that the Steelers should go draft a quarterback. I think Jaden Proctor is the guy that the Steelers need to go after in the draft. And that's because I want to solidify the offensive line and leave Darnell Washington at the position that he's at. Yeah, Eric Williams, I'm loving that, man. Steelers jersey is the same color as Bumblebee. And wait till you see Darnell Washington in the retro throwback. He's going to remind that, listen, if one of these news channels or one of these big time media pieces start calling him Bumblebee, I need my copyright money. I'm calling for it right now. I'm keeping it 100. I need my copyright money if y'all steal my idea. He's called Bumblebee. And Afton, you getting a cut. Kirby, you getting a cut. Take Boy Fresh, you getting a cut. Because we the one that called it off before anybody else called it out. He looks like Bumblebee from the Transformers, and he's totally going to look like it when they wear these throwback uniforms out there looking like the big Bumblebee, man. Right? I think that, hey, Pete, man, I ain't mad at you by saying that I think it's time that we move on from Muth. They tried to make him into Heath, and he ain't him. I don't think that Muth is a bad tight end. I just think that he doesn't fit our current system. And I think Jonnu Smith and Connor Hayward can do the exact, Super Hayward can do the exact same things that Pat Farmoff do. So why not turn Muth with a draft pick into a player, maybe a wide receiver too? I'm not mad at it. I think that we actually can use it. And I think it would benefit our roster moving forward. There was some concerns at first. I promise you. I went out there and I was saying, no, you can't get off a move, because if you do, you're gonna move Super Hayward up. Super Hayward can do the same things Muth can do, and he just showed it to me against the big trash Cleveland Browns. Super Hayward had a touchdown catch. Super Hayward's actually maybe a little bit better in the blocking game than Pratt Freiermuth. So let's listen. Let's realistically look at it. I'm saying this to say this. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a 2.5 game lead in the division. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with a win Thursday night, can go to 5-1 and put themselves in a separation gap in the division, and then actually start looking around in the AFC and saying, okay, what do we got to do to beat this particular team? And that's where you maybe look at a personnel standpoint and trade off a Pat Freiermuth to get a wide receiver too, because of the development of a Darnell Washington. Y'all, Darnell Washington is my guy. He's been my guy forever, man. I've been on him and talking about him forever. As I leave you guys for the last 2 minutes of Keeping It 100 Tuesday with Big G at lunchtime, I'm going to play the video for all y'all that didn't catch it at the very beginning of the show of what I was saying about Darnell Washington. I want y'all to dream about him. I want y'all to think about him. I want y'all to be hyped about Darnell Washington moving forward, because he's really our dude. Darnell Bumblebee Washington is the dude for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thank y'all for rocking with me at noon. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Well, I'll be back tonight on Steelers Almighty with my boy Big B and the Big Show. I'll be back tomorrow on Keeping It 100. On Smash the Gas and Pump Your Brakes with my boy Tate Boy Fresh, my boy Curb, and the Triple OG Shannon. And make sure you check out all the KnoItAllz content. Tate will be on tomorrow at around noontime, giving a Tate take that's going to be outstanding. So make sure you watch, like, subscribe, and share to everything you catch on the KnoItAllz podcast channel. And for sure, for me, Big G. Thanks for rocking with me this week, y'all. I appreciate another Keeping It 100 afternoon, short time, lunchtime special with you. I'll see y'all next week. Peace. Give me Darnell Washington, tight end, University of Georgia. So we go Bulldogs at 17-32. That tight end, number 32, listen, y'all. 6'5.5", 6'6", 260 pounds, sub 4.7 40-yard dash, and it's got catch radius like out of this world. Could you imagine us lining up with Freiermuth and Washington in 12 personnel, and you not knowing how you're going to match up what could possibly be the best tight end combination in the NFL? And oh, by the way, the kid is as strong as a bull. Because remember, I made reference about what Jones did to that one-man sled. Go back and look and see what Washington did to that one-man sled in that pre-draft combine thing. He knocked that sled so far back, it was unbelievable. And you got to remember, this sled's got two big old 50-pound weights on the end of it, and it probably weighs about 200-something pounds by itself. And he just picked it up and mauled it. So, but his catch radius is unbelievable, because you even seen that at the combine where he jumped up and gave us a one-hand Odell Beckham type catch. But he not only did that in the combine, go back and look at his game film. I seen 2 and 3 times where the dude jumped over a dude trying to hurdle a guy like a running back. The film we got here. I woke up and signs was everywhere, and my blanket was everywhere, and I don't know what happened. You know, all I know is when Darnell Washington hit the board, I blacked out. And I came up, and the next thing you know, I'm live on the KnoItAllz.
And then Darnell Washington, I mean, he's more of a freak than Kyle Pitts was, in my opinion. Like, I mean, this is the all-time freak at tight end, I think. I mean, you look at his measurables and what he did, you know, at the combine, and it's all just – he's in 90-plus percentile in everything: height, weight, speed, 10-yard split, arms, you know, just, you know, every possible way, every conceivable way. This dude is an absolute freak. And